Hello students, we will be talking about the secondary lymphoid organs today. We had started off with primary lymphoid organs. There is another video which is made for that. I will be sharing the link in the description box. So today, starting with the second part of it, that is your secondary lymphoid organs. What are these secondary lymphoid organs? Now these are the organs which is there or which is present in the different parts of our body, where these secondary lymphoid organs are the ones where the antigens are localized, or you can say that they are present, and they are effectively exposed to the mature lymphocytes which is produced in the primary lymphoid organs, and here the destruction of the pathogens happen, and this is a place which initiates your immune response. Okay, so the secondary lymphoid organs include the spleen, lymph nodes, malt, galt, etc. Now let us study about the secondary lymphoid organs in detail. Now, as I told you, the secondary lymphoid organs are the lymph nodes, spleen, malt, etc. The first one is your lymph node. Now, where are these lymph nodes present? Now, the lymph node is basically, it is the size of a pea, okay, and it is a bean-shaped structure. It is present throughout your body. If you talk about it, lymph nodes, it is present throughout your body. Like you can say that it is present on at the armpits, at the neck, the groin region, etc. So these are the different places. Here the lymph nodes are present, here the lymph nodes are present at the armpits, the different places. These are few of the places which I have just spoken to you about. Now let us see the structure of the lymph node. As I told you that it is a bean shaped structure, okay, and this is the lymph node, which it's a small sized structure. It swells while fighting an infection. When there is an infection, this lymph node, there is a swelling. It swells in structure. Okay, it is made up of different types of cells, meaning to say it houses different types of cells. These cells matures in different places, and then it houses its different cells are present here because they are the ones which fights with the antigens. Now let us see the structure of it. Now if you see the outermost layer, like your primary lymphoid organs, which we have seen, wherein it's made up of the outermost capsule, the cortex, and the medulla. The same thing applies here also. It is differentiated into three parts. We will concentrate on those three parts. Okay, the outermost region is the capsule. There are many there are many different labelings here. Let's not concentrate on it. Let's study what we actually need to know about it. Okay, the outermost layer is the capsule. The capsule has two openings, wherein one is called as the efferent lymphatic vessel, and one is called as the efferent lymphatic vessel. Okay, so the capsule is having two openings. One is the efferent and one is the efferent lymphatic vessel. Apart from that, the entire lymph node is connected by the arteries and veins, of course, for the circulation of the blood and the various cells. Okay, then moving on to the inner region, which is made up of the cortical region. Okay, now this cortical region is divided into two parts. One is the outer cortical region and one is the inner cortical region. Okay, now if you're talking about the outer cortical region, the outermost region, this part, the outer cortical region, this outer cortical region has many B lymphocytes, the B cells. We already have seen where the B cells are produced and what happens to the Bs, how do they mature, we have already seen. So this is the place where which houses the B lymphocyte, which has many B lymphocytes. Of course, these are the cells matured from the bone marrow. Now, if we are moving to the inner cortical region, I said there are two the cortical region is divided outer and inner. The inner cortical region, this is the inner cortical region, or it is also called as a paracortical region, which mainly has the T cells, the T lymphocytes, which is already matured in the primary lymphoid organ, that is the thymus, and it reaches the from there the T lymphocytes are present here. So if you see the outer cortical region, mostly the B lymphocytes are present. Inner cortical region, the T lymphocytes are present. Okay, moving on to the inner region, which is the medullary region. Okay, medullary region is a place which has your macrophages. Okay, apart from that, let us see. Suppose if the antigen, if there is an antigen, the antigen enters, of course, and all the B cells, the T cells, the macrophages, they enter into the lymph node through the afferent lymphatic vessel. Okay, now suppose if the B cells have to participate in the destruction of the pathogen, the B cells gets differentiated to give rise to plasma cells, and then plasma cells, of course, later on these B cells which is present here, they get differentiated and the plasma cells reach here, and after that into the cortical region, the plasma cells gets converted into the antibodies. Antibody antigen interaction happens here, and then the macrophages ultimately will destroy the pathogen. Now the destroyed pathogen is cleared out through the efferent lymphatic vessel. vessel. Now suppose the immune system now sends signal, or the immune system now decides that it is the T cells which has to participate in the destruction of the pathogen. The T cells are present in the inner cortical region. The T cells thus gets differentiated to give rise to T helper cells, T cytotoxic cells, etc., which then reaches into the medullary region. In the medullary region, these cytotoxic cells, with the help of T suppressor cells and the T helper cells, they destroy the pathogen, and the destroyed pathogen comes out through the efferent lymphoid vessel. So this is about your lymph node. Okay, so this is the one which basically has the cells and how the matured cells are present in the different regions, when they get differentiated, which region they move on to, and finally where the processing of happens, and then the destruction of the antigen, and the antigen which is destroyed completely gets eliminated out of the lymph node. So this is what happens in your lymph node. So you can say that the lymph node basically has these B cells, it has T cells, it has macrophages, it has plasma cells, it has antibodies. All these cells the lymph node has. Now if you have to talk about so this is the structure. Okay, this is the structure. These are the different places where the lymphoid organs are present. Okay, so if you see, this is a normal lymph node, and the lymph node which is participating in the destruction process, the infected one. So this is the swollen lymph node. This is what I had told you in the previous thing. Moving on to another structure, that is the spleen. Spleen is another secondary lymphoid organ. Okay, now this spleen, if you particularly this spleen, it is placed on to the left of the stomach. Okay, it is present on the upper side of the abdomen. Basically, I will show you the structure where exactly the spleen is present. Now if you see, this is the place where the spleen is present. Now the spleen, just like your other lymphoid organs, spleen also is having the outermost capsule. Okay, now the capsule has certain invaginations, which is called as the trabeculae. Here it is called as a trabeculae vein. And inner to the vein, inner to the capsule, it has many different types of cells. Like, it is divided into something called as a red pulp, and it is something called divided as the white pulp. Basically, this spleen, the main function of the spleen is the repair of the damaged cell. Now let us exactly see what happens here. What is the function of this red pulp? What is the function of this white pulp? Now if you see the trabeculae vein acts as a connective tissue which sends, like your efferent and efferent lymphoid vessel, this trabeculae vein will help the antigens to enter, or the RBCs to enter, and the worn out cells to be removed out of the spleen. This is what happens here. Okay, now if you see this, this entire part is called as the white pulp, and these cells, this is called as a white pulp, and this entire thing is called as the red pulp. Now if you see what is present in the white pulp has antibody producing cells and monocytes. Okay, these are having the cells which produces the antibodies. Like, you can say that it has many B cells. Okay, and the B cells ultimately gives rise to plasma cells, so it also has your plasma cells, and also it can have your antibodies. Okay, so you can say that mainly it helps in the growing of your immune blood cells. Then it also has your white pulp. Okay, so this is your white pulp. Now what is there in your white pulp? Now if you see the cross section of your white pulp, if you see the cross section of your white pulp, now white pulp is generally having your pulse, that is periarteriolar lymphoid sheath. Okay, it is called as the periarteriolar lymphoid sheath, which is present in your white pulp. They generally have these T cells that is present here. Okay, what do you say, inside this periarteriolar lymphoid sheaths are the T cells which is present. T cells are the ones which can ultimately give rise to your T cytotoxic cells, and then which can ultimately kill the cells. Okay, apart from that, if you're talking about your apart from your white pulp, if you're talking about your red pulp, what is the function of the red pulp? Throughout, as I told, there is the red pulp. What is the red pulp? Red pulp is the one which helps in the repairing of your RBCs. It checks whether your RBCs are worn out. Can it be repaired? If it can be repaired, it will repair. If the damage is too much, if the repair is out of the control, then these RBCs are destroyed, and then it is eliminated out of the spleen, out of the thing. Okay, so this is the main function of it. It basically checks for the worn out and the defective RBCs. If it can be repaired, it will be. Otherwise, it will be completely destroyed and sent out. Okay, it can also, your spleen also helps in the destruction of the antigens. Okay, generally your pneumonia and the meningitis causing antigens, it will destroy. How it will destroy? That is because of the presence of your T cells and your B cells. Moving on to the other, that is your malt gall. That is, malt is your mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. We had just spoken about the lymph node, isn't it? So these lymph nodes are present in various different parts of your body. So if these lymph nodes are present in your mucosal, your entire body is lined by a mucosal layer. So if the lymph nodes are present in the mucosal layer, then you can call that as mucosal associated lymphoid tissues. If these are present in the gut, then if the lymph nodes, then you can call them as gut associated lymphoid tissue. If they are present, when they are present in the bronchus, then it is called as the bronchus associated lymphoid tissue. If they are present in your nasal place, then you can call that as your NALT, that is nasal associated lymphoid tissue. Now your mucosal associated, it can be divided into two types. One is major and the minor components. The major components are your bronchial associated lymphoid tissue and the gut associated lymphoid tissue. All this is present in the mucosa itself. The minor ones include the nose associated, the vulva vagina associated lymphoid tissue, your skin associated lymphoid tissue. Okay, so all this is your lymphoid tissue which is present in the various parts of your body. It's not present only in one particular place. Now this is the entire structure as to where your lymph nodes are present. These are the different places where your lymph nodes are present. This is the place where your thymus is present. This is the place where your spleen is present. Okay, this is the bone marrow. So these are the different things. Now what are these Peyer's patches? Now Peyer's patches are the ones which is present in below your what do you say? It is present here in below your lamina propria. Okay, below the lamina propria in your intestine. These Peyer's patches are also acting like the cells which helps in the destruction of the antigens. So this is it about your secondary lymphoid organ. In the next class, we will be studying about the cells of your immune system. Thank you.